Tervehdys rakkaat ystävät ja tervetuloa uusimman Keskiympyrän pariin ja ai että mikä jakso meillä onkaan luvassa, koska saamme vieraaksemme Huuhkajien tuoreen päävalmentajan Jacob Friisin, joka istahtaa tuohon vieraan penkille ihan hetkisen kuluttua. Huuhkajat palaa stadikalle, uusi aika alkaa ja stadionillehan Huuhkajat palaa vastassa Hollanti, Puola, kova vastus tulossa, mutta pakko kyllä sanoa, että se on yksi vuoden kohokohdista päästä kesäkuussa kesäiltaa viettämään Olympiastadionille. Siinä on jotain taianomaista, siinä on jotain romanttista niitä pelejä odotellessa, mutta Jacob Friis siis, hän on ollut nyt tässä joitakin kuukausia Suomen päävalmentaja, ensimmäiset pelitkin pelattiin Liettua ja Maltaa vastaan. Näistä peleistä puhutaan tietysti, mitä otetaan mukaan tähän ikkunaan, puhutaan pelaajavalinnoista, sivutaan tietysti vähän myöskin U21 ja puhutaan tuosta nuorennusleikkauksesta, joten paljon mielenkiintoista asiaa on luvassa. Pidemmittä puheitta otetaan Jacob Friis mukaan Keskiympyrään. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear, but I had no clue on what you just said.
Yeah, okay, but that's okay. So your Finnish is a little bit rusty, let's say that.
Yeah, we would say a bit more than rusty. So.
All right. But hey, Jacob Friis, welcome to Keskiympyrä. Nice to meet you and nice to have you with us. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it was one of our top requests that people wanted to have here. Yeah, good to have you. And how is you're now in Denmark still?
Yeah. I'm in Denmark, and next week I'll go to Finland for, this time 2.5 weeks with some games and different important stuff. So at the moment I'm in Denmark, and the weather is nice. It's 20 degrees, the sun is shining, which is not that normal always, but I just took my kids home from football. They're also playing football, so that's a logistic work and tonight I'm alone because my wife is actually also playing football, so she has a game. So
okay,
that's but I'm happy that we could arrange this. So if somebody suddenly interrupts, it's one of my kids that did not do as they promised.
All right, okay, I think we can live with that. But how would you describe now? You've been the head coach of Finland for some months now. How would you describe the time you have spent with the team now? Of course, not all the players all the time, but you know.
Yeah. If I should say, make a headline, it should be a very positive headline because I really enjoyed the first month as a head coach for Finland for different reasons. For first of all, meeting a lot of interesting persons in the FA, a lot of good people with, of course, different job descriptions, but really passionate about making a difference for Finland and Finnish football. So that has been a pleasure. And then, of course, also met and talked with a lot of players. I'm watching a lot of football. Also, the horizon opens up a bit when you suddenly have to scout games in the Polish league. The horizon opens up a bit, and also looking games in the Veikkausliiga and trying to get a better picture of Finnish football, the home league as well. And as you know, that we have players in all the way from USA to Saudi Arabia, more or less in between. So there's a really, a very interesting job that I have enjoyed a lot here for the first many months or few months.
Yeah. That sounds good. If we go a little bit back on time, what were your first thoughts of becoming the head coach of Finland? Did you apply, or how did it all happen? And what were your first thoughts about that?
First of all, I didn't send and apply. It was literally, I had also a very good job in the Bundesliga in Augsburg, and I was actually about to extend my contract with one more year. We more or less agreed on everything, me and the club. I also, brought it up with the family, and even the kids started to accept, okay, we will stay one more year. And for them, it's like, it was one more year in an international school. So everything was more or less settled. It was only about actually putting the signature. But, the weeks go on, and before we finally sat down and made the handwriting on the paper, actually more or less literally 1 week before, I get a message from the FA, just a first feeler of where am I, how does my future look like, what are my plans for the future. And then, like everything here in life, it's just about being honest. And I said, I'm actually thinking about, extending my contract here. But of course, now you write me, and then I was interesting to hear what did they want to talk about. So when the following week, when Augsburg came and said, okay, next week, Thursday, we sit down and then we make it. And then I had to say, can we just wait a bit? Because again, being honest, saying somebody else asked me about something very interesting. So I have to find out if it turns out to anything. And then most of, December and January, it went by talking, meetings. I even got a visit from Finland down in Augsburg as well. A lot of online meetings. I also, they asked me some important coaching questions. They asked me about important questions like my view on being a leader and stuff like that. So I also had, to really also explain who I was. And during that period of a lot of meetings, I also found out that the FA did quite good, research on me.
Yeah.
And they even came and, more or less said, if we say you play like that, does it fit to what you think yourself? So they had a really good view on my style of play as a coach. And of course, they also talked with people around in the football environment and who I was. And so they also made a lot of research, and that of course made me even more interested in the job, because, okay, these people, they are actually, trying to do a proper job in finding the next coach. So it's not only about finding a coach, and then it's also about hopefully finding the right personality and the right coach. So hopefully we fit well together. And I had that feeling from day one. So the weeks went, and it was positive feedback both ways. And then it ended up, we made a deal. So that's a long story made a bit shorter. So that's how it actually went. And so I'm just very happy that first of all, Augsburg released me before my contract ended, and then we could make this deal. So that's why we're here now.
Yeah. Well, as we all know, coaching a national team is completely different than coaching a club or being a coach there. So was that a thing that you were thinking before you signed with Finland?
Yeah, of course, it's something you have to take in consideration because it is different ways of working. I think in football, it's very hard to find the perfect job. There are a lot of good jobs, but it's very, hard to find the balance in the perfect job. But I was also so lucky because some years ago I had a small period of 6 months within the Danish Federation. I had a period where I was off the football due to some family reasons, a sick daughter. And when I came back into the football environment, I started with a 6-month period with the Danish FA, and it was the under-19 female team actually. So I already knew how it is, or it was, not to have the training every day and have players, working with them on daily basis. So I had a pretty good idea also what it would say, and that's the same no matter what level you're working on. So the everyday looks quite similar.
Yeah. How well did you know the Finnish players or the Finnish player pool before you started working?
I would say I knew that maybe the top players, but not the big pool of players. There were some unknown players to me, and of course during the talks we had, I tried to dig a bit deeper into it, so I got a better and better view on the part of Finnish players. But of course it's not the group of players that I knew best. So I had, and I'm still making a lot of research, talking with a lot of people also in the FA to get a really clear picture on the different qualities of the players in the different environments. So it's an ongoing process because some bodies may be fading a bit out and new ones are coming up. So there is a quite big pool of players to follow. So, but I had I don't know, maybe I was a bit lucky because I had Frederik Jensen in Augsburg. So, and when we had the national breaks, he was leaving for Finland, and when you're in a club, you normally look and follow your players on the national teams a bit also. So I had the luck that I saw a bit of Finnish national team games before, but that was more luck because Frederik was playing in Augsburg as well.
Yeah. Well, as we know, Veikkausliiga, the Finnish league, started a few months ago almost. How much time have you had to watch Veikkausliiga? Have you been in Finland watching Veikkausliiga games, and how do you see the league and the players? Like, are they potential? Like as we have shown already in the last window that you have selected players from Veikkausliiga.
Yeah. I have Rutur. That I don't know if it's pronounced correct, but I subscribed that TV producer, what you call it. So I have access to all the games and in that sense, following as much as possible. And then I have not that many live games on my CV yet. I will do this after the June camp. I will also travel to Finland during the summer. I'll actually also bring my family, but then I will also, take a tour to Finland and visit many of the clubs to show myself and to get a bit better feeling of the clubs. So I'm trying to hang in and follow as much as possible. And of course, we also have people in the FA that are also, even deeper into the Veikkausliiga and knowing, a lot of players, even much more than I do at the moment. So it's also about, our eyes. are more than just my two eyes following the Liga. But so, and what do you think about it? I think I was interviewed before I went to see AJK Gnistan, I think, in a home game, and they made this interview with me and asked more or less the same question. What did I think at that moment? And I said, and I can still see it, because when I see the games, and I see it with the eyes of a coach, you know, you're looking at, are there any patterns on how they build up? What about the pressing structure? Or are they, you know, emphasizing transitions more? And so I'm looking at the style of play, and I can see, you know, a lot of where you can see there has been some good coaches around the team trying to do some specific things. And when I see games, there are some good coaching job done. And then, of course, it's also for me to find and to compare the level, because where do we rate the league compared to now, I said, the Polish league, for example. So everything had to be taken in consideration. And there, the level is, you know, I see some games where I think, okay, it's a good game, and then some other games I can see, okay, that's a bit lower tempo than if they were going to play in the national team. So of course there are a balance on you know, what is the level, what is the tempo, how is the intensity compared. If I take one player out of that team, how would he fit into a national team playing against Holland, for example? So that's also the interesting part of the job. So
yeah. I got some questions about different players and few players that has played in the Finnish national team. You could call them veterans, but they are still doing a good job in Veikkausliiga. We are talking about Roman Yeremenko and Alex Ring, two very experienced players, good players still. Do you feel that they could have a place in the Finnish national team, or have you talked with them about it?
I have not talked specifically with those two players, but I've seen Ring in a live game, and I see the other, which is a long pronunciation for me. I'm a bit afraid of pronouncing the word, but of course a player with a huge, enormous amount of games at a very higher level than the Veikkausliiga as well. And yes, a bit older, but playing very good, performing very well at the moment. So yes, I know those two, and I have to, you know, next job, 2 games in the summer, putting, you know, the hopefully the right players together in the pots and picking the right players that can perform for those 2 games. So it is also something about the game shape and the minutes played and how they are performing. So yes, I know those 2, and they are very good players with a lot of experience, and so they're also in the pot. Let me say it like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about the upcoming games in a bit. But if we look back now the 2 games you already played against Malta and Lithuania, 4 points from those games. What is the big picture to take with you from those 2 games if we now come to the window in June?
Yeah, it was a really good, you know, camp for us, and especially for me, because now I had the chance, you know, to get the players together for the first time. One thing is to, you know, see them in the clubs, see them on television, talk with them on the phone. Another thing is to train with them and be with them on a daily basis. So that was really, really nice for me. And of course, I hope it's the other way around. They also found it okay. So it was nice for us to be together. And I got, much. I got, how do you say it? If I had an idea about a player before we met and with the scouting that was done, then most luckily, in many cases, I got confirmed that, okay, they are actually able to do this. And I had a group of players that were really, what a pleasure to work with. Interesting in, the ideas you come with as a new coach. You want to implement the style of play without, coming with too much at once, because you can also make a kind of overload. So that was a hard balance. But first of all, they were really willing, and they were hungry for working with the things that we came with and work with. So that was a pleasure. And it made me, even eager to meet in next time, which is in June. And then you can say it, the principles we were working with in the first camp here, it was mainly, the box defending. How are we defending the box? There are some certain principles, and it has to be done, and it has to be done with enough quality if we want to avoid the opponent from scoring. And the other thing was at the other end of the pitch, around the opponent's box, how are we actually going to create chances? What are we aiming for when we get up there? So that was the two major areas where we spent some time on the training pitch. And as a coach, you also wanted, a lot more, but it was also, the balance, not too much. And I think in the first game against Malta, we also talked with the players, maybe, new coach, have not won a game for a long time, a lot of new input. So maybe it got a bit too, not too fluently. And we talked about it. And before the second game, I said this: loosen the grip on that hockey stick, because I heard that before. Coincidental, I heard this Finnish expression of, when you want to perform, you want to top perform, you cannot, grip the hockey stick too hard, because it will be tense, and if it's too loose, you lose it in the next tackle. So we talked about loosen that grip a bit, and that's also how I want, the players to act. I want them, to let loose on the pitch and enjoy playing football, and not be nervous about anything, but just go and enjoy it. And we talked about loosen the grip on the stick a bit, and let's go out and play. And that feeling, could also see it on the performance. For me, at least, it was a more comforting expression we had in the second game. The results should have been better, but the performance overall, it was more like we want to play, and not, being too stiff, and so we loosened a bit on the grip, and I think it was a good balance we had in the second game. And then, of course, we can dig a bit deeper what worked in the game against Malta, what did not work, and the same with the Lithuanian game. So, but overall, it was really, really nice, and I had a good feeling when I left the camp, and I also got some positive feedback from players and other staff members. So I think it was a good start together.
Yeah. Of course, it's a short period, like 2 games and about a week with the team. Did you feel like there is something with what you were thinking before, like we should do this way or that way, and after those games you noticed that doesn't work, we have to change this somehow? What was there, like, some things that you want to change from those 2 games or that 1 week?
No, I of course, it's there were things we could have done better, and it could have looked better. Especially the first game, it was not, a top performance. But as I say, they defended bravely, and we really defended. We also defended too much that we hoped for, but at least we still had to do that. And we also had that bit luck, but there were some things that were also positive. Even the overall expression wasn't that good. So, but I think now you said, now you have only been there, X number of trainings and only 2 games, and it's a short period. But that's the way it is to be a head coach for a national team. You only have short periods. Then, of course, I hope, the more times you have been together, and of course there will be small changes within the group of players, but the more we can add on the principles, then that has to be, the natural work we do. So every time we met, we got a bit more clear on each of the phases of the game, and so answering your question, no, there's nothing really that I would do differently. And next time we meet in here for the June, we add a bit and we reinforce some of the things we do. And then, the more times we've been together, then at some point it's very clear hopefully for a national team player, what expression do we want and what are we, trying to achieve, and how do we do that best so we can perform well. So it's taken into, bits, but the next bit is just as short as the former bit. So it's my job to make that balance of coming with the next input, reinforcing what we already talked about, and then no matter what the result will be, because now we know it's Holland and Poland. Yes, they're way better teams than Malta and Lithuania, but and we know it's about winning, so we don't have to talk about that. So we are really looking into how are we performing, because many games I also tried at the club level, and then you lose a game, and then it's like, oh, what the fuck? Sorry for my language. What happened? But it's what happened? Let's look at the game. Maybe we didn't do proper box defending, so it's not like some magician came from outside and say, now your team have to lose, so now something strange happens. No, things on a football pitch happens because there are areas where you should do it better, and then we're down into details. And then, okay, sometimes football is also about luck, but the overall is about doing the stuff good enough with a high enough quality. And that's where when we meet the focus is on how can we do this box defending better, how can we do a good offensive transition, how do we do that, and what are we aiming for, and let's do it good enough and make a high performance, because then at the end, hopefully we do all the things good enough, and then the chance of getting points or even win against Holland, it's a bit bigger than if we didn't perform well. So we don't, also said to the players before the Malta and Lithuania game, we are spending 85% of the time on how we want to play football. What do we want to perform well at? And we have the same amount of respect for Malta as we have against Holland. We just know Holland, they have even better players, but there are still things in our game we have to do good enough if we are hoping and to achieve a result. So the focus is mainly on us, and we respect all the opponents we meet. And then we know, okay, Lithuania, we had the ball more than the opponent. Now we meet Holland. Maybe a bit naive to think that we will have 60% of ball possession against them. So we know that there may be longer periods in the defensive part we have to do good enough. So, but we're still, looking at our performance, and we don't get stressed or pressure from the outside regarding that, oh, you must win this game, or now you can just, this is a free game because now they're so good. No. We're looking at how can we do it good enough. And I think if we do that in the coaching staff and the players, we have that, all the arrows are pointing towards the middle, us as a team, and that's where we can use the energy. And that was a long answer for your question, but I hope it made sense. I hope it made sense.
Yeah, that was I would say a perfect answer. But hey, one another thing is which is great for us Finns is that the under-21s are playing in the Euros this summer, and now the narrative here in Finland amongst fans and people who are watching a lot of football is that now we have the Euros under-21s, and after that there is these great young players who should be brought to Huuhkajat team. Like now is the time to change of generation. What are you thinking about these talks? Have you heard it, and how do you see the situation?
I have not heard it because I can't read your newspapers. Then I need to put it through Google Translate. And I'm also that coach. I live happily unknown of what the media writes, because that's you can say as a coach, I don't care what they write, but you are just human. So of course people get affected if everybody in the world think you are a big idiot and a poor football coach. But so I don't follow, the medias in Finland in that way. I have a very good press officer with Timo, and of course he can, let me know if Finland is on fire or if it's, but overall, no, I don't follow that. But of course, I'm also hired on a big long-term project. And of course, we have a high, average age average in the team, as it was last time, and probably also for the June camp. And we have a good under-21 team going to the Europes, which is amazing. And the experience these players can get at a tournament like that, it's like you can't buy that for money. So that's a high value it's a very important stake and very high value for Finnish football, that these players can go to a Euro for under 21. It will come, us everybody, it will come back, 10 times the value if we can put a good team together at the under 21 Euro. So of course there is something about the timing, and there are many good players at the under 21, but I'm also seeing I have a lot of good players I can still pick from. Even I try to wait a bit with some of the potential under 21 players. So it's a very positive situation, but again, due to the high average age with the team we have now, of course, by time, there will be some kind, you can call it a generation shift, but it's not like it's an aim. We're not looking at the average age now and then say in 1.5 years we need to get it down. No, we are knowing the pot of players gets bigger, and the quality has to be good enough, even you're 21 or 38. So it's really about the quality at the end, but there will be a natural change within, the next year, 1.5 year, 2 years. That would be very natural. And then there is this hard line. Okay, after the summer, no more under 21 Euro. And then of course some doors open up for some players. I also have a very good relation with Mika. We have some good football talks, and at the end it's me to decide. So literally I could say I need 5 players from the under 21, but I'm also, for me, when I see it, I'm hired as a coach for the Finnish FA. What is best for Finnish football on the long term, and not 2 games for the June camp. And so it's also about finding that balance. But the pot of players are big. There are many good players, so it's really a positive problem for me. And the generation shift will come natural during the next longer period.
Yeah. Well, if we look at the Netherlands and Poland game, how do you see what is the situation now? If you look at the players, how much players are injured, or how much you are hoping that some players are coming back, or as we know, like if you look, for example, the center backs now, Ivanov Hoskonen, who has played a lot, hasn't been playing now. So how do you see the situation?
Yeah, I see, and I am, eager every weekend or every time a Finnish player has the potential of playing minutes. I'm following, and my fingers are crossed. And because in a perfect world, we would call in 25 players to the June camp, and everybody played 90 minutes every weekend. That would be in the perfect world, but that's not where we are. So it's also about finding players that are actually playing minutes, are in a good game shape. And then regarding which position they play, do we have an overload of amount of players in that position where I have the luxury to say, this time you are not coming in because you didn't play any minutes for 2 months. Maybe I have that luxury in some position, but in some other position, maybe I don't have that luxury. So and so that's a balance we have to look at every time. So I would, answering your question more precisely, it could be better with playing minutes in some positions, and there are unfortunately also some injuries that makes for somebody else it opens up a door, but the door is closed for those that are injured. So I would say it could be better, but it could absolutely also be worse. So, but I think all national team coaches, they will eventually, have an injury or two, so they need to pick out other players. So I'm not whining. We just have to find the right ones.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if we look Netherlands and Poland, like you said, it's completely different challenge if you compare to Malta and Lithuania. Netherlands, we all know how great the nation is football wise, and of course Poland maybe not the same as they were like years ago, but still a really good team. So what does it make to have results from these games? Because as we know, still the game is about results after all.
Yeah, and then and the result will only come if you do a proper performance. And then when we're scouting, Holland, for example, it's a good team, and you can watch. I think I watched complete last 8 games, and then you see teams doing different stuff, against them, and you can see when an opponent is doing this, then Holland just choose to do it like that, and that's how football is. So it's a really really strong team. But that's a good thing about having your own principles and your own style of play. Yes, they can do more or less everything, Holland, but we are going to have the focus on what are we going to do, and we need to perform, well in this phase of the game. How do we work on it on the pitch? How do we work on it during the game? Which players do we put in the position? So that's where the focus is. And that's the good thing about, you have to style of play and you have to principles, because that's where your energy should be. And then hopefully it's good enough. And then, of course, we all hope that we can, perform enough and maybe even overperform in some phases of the game, so we can get some points from those 2 games. So that's the aim. But it's about doing it good enough, and when you meet the better opponents you meet, you have to beat, over your weight. If you are a boxer, you have to battle above your weight class, and we must say we need to do that in the next 2 games. But it's not impossible, and you just have to nail it on the day. So we're looking very much forward, but again, it's about us. How can we do it, and do we do it good enough?
Yeah. If you
Because I would just say, you can get stressed if you watch Holland and you think, now we do this, but then you see the quality they have in that phase of the game. So that will just mess up your mind. So you have to focus on you.
Yeah, exactly. If you think about the identity of Finland and the identity of Huuhkajat, how would you like to see it if we think that in a few years Huuhkajat is going to the World Cup or going to Euros and people are talking about different nations, different teams, and seeing those different identities? What would you like to the talk to be about Huuhkajat? If you get my idea.
Yeah, I get your idea, and I would also, would love to say, we have to play, tiki-taka, and we have to. It would be beautiful to look, and we would create 101 million chances every game we play. That will be a bit unrealistic, but what I hope to is that Finland is a rock solid team. That is clear when Finland is playing. It's clear to see that there is some quality, and it's a good structured team. And by structured, I'm not only talking about parking the bus in front of your own box, but it's like with a high amount of quality in the different phases of the game, knowing that, okay, Spain is better than us and they will probably perform better, but that is a solid team to play against and a difficult team to play against. That the opponents really need to be on the toes if they're going to beat us. That I would, if that could be the minimum bar, and we will lose games, but if that could be, the minimum bar, that there is some kind of consistency in that solid Finnish team, that would be nice, and that solidness has to start somewhere. So it can be that. Now it's a bit hard to promise that before Holland game, but that we can, lower the amount of chances against and actually, defend well, because my experience from club football is that the offensive fluent play, where you see, wow, they play freely. A bit like, I think, in some parts of the Lithuanian game we did, but it normally starts with a rock solid base defensively. And I hope that is possible to recognize, when we talk in 2 years. But I also know football that it's you should not, promise anything. But the only thing you can promise that we have a consistent way of working and very clear on what we want to do. And if you are that as a coach, as a coaching team, then normally it also affected to the players. But let's see.
Yeah, let's see. I was just talking when you came to the show that there is something magical in these games in Olympic Stadium in June here in Helsinki. I've been watching those games since I was maybe 5 or 6 years old. Coming to the stadium with my dad, and usually we didn't win, but there was still something magical. The summer has just started, and the stadium was full and everything. Of course, you seen something now already from the Huuhkajat fans, from the Pohjoiskaare. What kind of an atmosphere are you expecting, and what kind of thoughts do you have from the Pohjoiskaare, the Finnish fans?
I already have a first touch of feeling by playing in Malta and Lithuania, and feeling there was already there quite big amount of support in two away games. And then, of course, I have seen videos from the Finnish summer nights. I've seen the famous video where the Huuhkajat came flying into the pitch. From Denmark, I know these summer nights, how beautiful they are. And it's not less in Helsinki. I also know that. So I expect 2 great nights. And then it's my job, to keep the tension in the game so we can, we don't have to go out 5 minutes before the game is ended and go home. No, that we can keep it alive and keep that atmosphere alive. And we hopefully dreaming about making it electric, but keep that tension alive, because Nordic summer nights are beautiful. And if you can combine it with football, and even national team football, that's of course memories for many people for a lifetime. So I have some expectations, but I know when we get there onto Saturday night, I'll try to enjoy it, but my focus is somewhere else. So I hope you will have a great night on the stands. I have some expectation. I expect a full stadium. I have not talked with anybody, but of course I expect when two greater nations like Holland and Poland are visiting for a World Cup qualifier, that it will be with a full stadium as well.
Yeah. Let's hope that it's going to be going to be great. I expect that as well. Now we are coming to the end of the show. Is there still something you would like to say to Finnish people or the Finnish football fans?
Oh, more just that I'm looking forward to knowing you even more, and I'm looking for a summer in Finland, first with some games, and then later on with the family and travel around, to get the atmosphere. So I would just say I'm looking forward to know you even better.
Yeah.
On and off the pitch.
That sounds good. But hey, thank you so much, Jacob, for finding the time to come and visit the show. And best of luck. First of all, these next 2 games, and of course after that, and I hope that at some point we can do it again.
Yes, of course. You just send me the invitation, and I will be glad to participate next time. And my first job now is to have 3 kids sleeping out there. So I think that's a bigger job than winning against Holland.
Okay, well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
and have a
Thank
great
you.
night. Thanks.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.
Iso kiitos vielä sinne Tanskaan Huuhkajien päävalmentaja Jacob Friisille, ja kaikkea hyvää tietysti Friisille ja koko valmennustiimille ja joukkueelle tuleviin koitoksiin. Ja Suomi siis pelaa kesäkuun alussa 2 isoa karsintaottelua Hollantia ja Puolaa vastaan. Toivottavasti sinäkin olet sinne Olympiastadionille kannustamaan Huuhkajat voittoon. Tässä oli kuitenkin kaikki Keskiympyrästä tältä erää. Ensi viikolla jälleen jatketaan. Nyt ei muuta kuin oikein paljon kiitoksia seurasta. Nähdään, kuullaan. Moi moi!